I'm Robin Bennett, for those that have not met me before, and Susan Briggs is over there as well. We're the co-founders of the Dog Gurus, and the Dog Gurus is a pet care business and staff training company. We help pet care businesses launch, grow, and profit, and we help your staff truly know dogs and help to educate your staff on canine body language, as well as all the other things your teams need to know. So that's what we do. You can find us at thedoggurus.com. What we want to talk about today, and I'll let Susan introduce our guest in a second while I bring her up, but what we want to talk about today is enrichment. And for those that have been following us, that about 5 or 6 years ago, Susan and I started promoting what we were calling at the time Daycare 2.0, which was a new model of daycare, which we thought was better for the dogs, better for your staff, and more profitable. And now, 5 or 6 years later, it's become much more common, especially during COVID. A lot of people converted to Daycare 2.0 or enrichment model of daycare. And so we want to just talk about what ideas you have or might have to make that even more fun for your staff, more fun for your dogs, what activities you can do, and answer any questions you guys have about enrichment. And for that, we are going to bring on a special guest who has like thousands and thousands of ideas about working with dogs. So I'll let you introduce Jamie while I bring her up.
Okay. So yeah, Jamie Popper from Blue Nine Pet Products is our go-to resource when we want to talk about how to have more fun with your dogs, safely use equipment for enrichment, and also fitness, which is a type of bonus from enrichment. So Jamie, it's great to have you here with us today.
Yes, I'm so excited to be live with you guys again, and excited to be talking about this topic of enrichment and hopefully some inspiring new ideas.
Yeah, I will say that we have for trainers, there's a book called 101 Things to Do with a Box, which Jamie's probably familiar with. And it's about doing stuff with your dog and shaping behaviors with your dogs. And I always feel like Jamie is like 101 things to do with anything, like 101 things to do with the climb or 101 things to do with the propeller platform. She just always has ideas. So we love bringing Jamie on. For those of you that were at our live earlier, I guess it's May. So last month, Jamie was there with her, I guess she's not really a puppy anymore, but Peak. Is she a year now?
She is just about 18 months old now.
Yeah, so she's a year and a half.
Still maturing. We'll still give her some puppy there.
She was there with Peak and also with Rue, who's technically retired from trade shows, but made an appearance at the show as well. So hopefully you got to talk to her there. But I will just start it off with, what tips do you have for really keeping enrichment activities fresh and engaging for the dogs that have been coming maybe day after day at a specific facility? What ideas do you have for that?
I love that question. And I have to say, going back to what you were sharing about 101 things to do with a climb or 101 things to do with our canine fitness equipment. So I have to give some credit to our customers. So many of our ideas that we see come from our customers. There are photos or videos that are posted online on social media. We love it when people tag us in it. And we get a lot of our inspiration and creative ideas from you guys. So when it comes to your question about, okay, how do we keep it fresh? How do we keep it engaging? I think that's a two-part question. How can we keep our staff creative and innovative and thinking about new ways to utilize the equipment? And how do we keep them engaged? And as a byproduct of that, you'll have fresh new ideas that you can use with your dogs. And one of the ideas that I had just as we were talking about this is the idea of writing down all of the different things that you can do with the equipment or other enrichment activities you're already doing, and then throwing them into a hat and drawing out a new activity or three and finding ways to combine them together into an enrichment session with just one dog or inside of a group, that sort of thing. So that might be a fun little idea of listing out everything that you can do.
I just had an idea that you could actually make that some kind of a contest at your facility where like everybody has to, or you could even do it as teams. I'm literally just making this up right now, but you could just say, okay, break into teams of 2 or 3 or whatever, or you could do it individually and come up with at least 5 ideas and maybe 10, or maybe it's whoever comes up with the most or whatever. But I think you could get really creative that way as well. And then I love the idea of throwing them all in a hat and then picking one out, and maybe the person who put that one in the hat can give like a little, that would be a great lunch and learn, could give a little demo on how to teach that particular activity. So that's a great idea as well.
Yeah, that just like spurred another creative idea as well. So if you end up doing kind of that team activity, you can get those like big poster boards and then maybe brainstorm 5 different categories of enrichment activities that you might do. Maybe there's something that's like scent enrichment, and maybe there's something that's more canine fitness related or trick related or toy play related, and then have everybody write down different ideas on all of those different poster boards of activities that might fit that type of description. So anything from that scent work stuff, it's finding hidden treats, to going on a sniffari through an herb garden with dog safe herbs, or there's so many different ideas that you can come up with, and turning it into more of an interactive activity for everybody by using those poster boards and having people go around the room and share their ideas might be a fun way to do it too.
That's awesome. I love that idea too.
That is definitely great. I know we've talked in the past, Jamie, about how when you start with an activity and the dog's mastered, that you can make it a little more challenging by altering what you ask or the equipment. So maybe just a refresher on how you can keep it engaged once the dogs kind of master what you've asked them to do initially.
Yeah, great question. So in dog training, one of the concepts that we talk about is the 3 Ds: distance, duration, and distractions. And those are 3 different levels of difficulty. So if you think about just about any behavior that we're asking our dogs to do, whether it's something that's a little bit more innate, finding treats that are hidden, or something that's quite a bit more trained, like doing canine fitness activities, you can still apply those distance, duration, and distractions levels of difficulty to just about any behavior if you get creative. So just those 2 examples, I might start off in an open room and hide some, I don't know, like under a towel or in a corner, or something that's very obvious for the dog, all on the ground. That's one way to start, and have them sniff and find it and get to the cookies or whatever. And then I might add additional distance, meaning use a bigger area, make the dog travel further in between the treats that I've put there. I might add in other distractions. Maybe I put some of my dog's favorite toys out while I'm still asking them to go and find the treats instead. And then duration. So maybe I'm just making this a longer activity for the dog that they'll have to, work harder in order to find all of those treats. So it's a longer time that they're spending sniffing. So thinking about those 3 different levels of difficulty, you can certainly apply it there. And that's how you can really challenge the dogs that are coming back month after month in order to help them progress their skills. Definitely get creative there. And then from that canine fitness idea, looking at duration that the fitness session might be. So we might just have a longer fitness session. Distance away from the dog. Maybe we're asking them to perform some of their obedience cues while we're further away from them, or incorporating in different distractions during our training sessions with them. But that's just one concept, one way to keep it fresh and make it a little bit more challenging for the dogs.
I think that's another one you could actually do with your team, to list the activities and then have everybody brainstorm how can you make it more challenging in each of those Ds, in each one of those Ds, distance, distractions, or duration, because I don't think everybody always thinks about it as easily. I know if, as a trainer, like you said, Jamie, we hear that all the time and we instinctively go there if we're trying to make things more difficult. But if you're not used to doing that, I think that's another exercise that you could get your team together and go, okay, 10 exercises that we use all the time in enrichment, how can we make them more difficult? And then have your team brainstorm. Again, it's a great opportunity for a lunch and learn, where your entire team can take part in making the whole enrichment activity process better for the dog. So I like that idea as well. And I do think we want to make sure that it's not just that, okay, we taught the dog, they've done that 5 times, they've come 2 weeks and they've been here 5 times and they've done it 5 times and now we're all bored with it, because your staff's going to get bored too. So it's really making sure that you have a way to make it a little bit more challenging and a little bit more fun for both the dog and the people, I think is really important.
Yeah, and I like the idea too of thinking about just like different spins that you could do on it. So maybe you have a ball pit that you use one-on-one with dogs and they crawl into the ball pit and have some fun, search for cookies, whatever. But maybe you want to just do a different spin on it. You can add a couple of water bottles in there that are going to have a different sound to them or a different texture to them. And so that's going to change up what that activity is with minimal investment into that thought process of making something even more creative.
So Samantha had a question. Samantha is our enrichment stylist. She's not our enrichment stylist, but I consider her ours. She is an enrichment stylist that is also one of the Dog Gurus members. And she said she was thinking about including the climb in her grooming salon. And she said, I'm thinking of maybe doing it with our positive training packages, but what do you think? And I know, Jamie, you recently went to, I forget if it was what you were taking Rue for, but was it acupuncture?
Yes.
I saw that they had a bunch of climbs in there. So I was going to say you could definitely use climb for grooming as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I was stunned when I walked in, and I knew that it was going to be a different veterinary practice because it's integrative and holistic. And we were talking about acupuncture and some other pain management protocols for Rue as he's retiring and getting older and has a little bit of pain. So I knew that it was going to be a little bit different of a veterinary office. But when I walked in and I saw climbs everywhere, there were no exam tables. It was just climbs with steps to get up onto them made out of other climbs. And Rue was like perfectly at home. He was like, this is my playground. Like, I know what I'm doing here. And we didn't have any of those like jitters of, oh, we're in a vet office. It didn't smell like a vet office. And it felt like home, which was so nice because it put both him and me at ease. So I was excited to see that. But you're right, you can certainly use them for grooming as well. One of the things that I really like to do in grooming my own dogs is use the climb as like a start button behavior. So for dogs that don't really like having like nails or maybe their ears cleaned out or their paws trimmed, or for Rue, he just really doesn't like being blow dried with the force blow dryer because it's loud. What I'll do is have it be that start button behavior. So the blow dryer's on. If you want cookies, you can get up on the climb. And that also means that you're going to get blow dried. And then if he needs a break, he can hop off of the climb and run around our little grooming room. And then when he's ready, he'll hop back on the climb, gets lots of cookies, and the force blow dryer starts happening again. And you'd be really surprised that when you give the dogs choice in whether or not they want to be blow dried or whether or not they want to get back up on the climb, the first couple of sessions, yeah, it probably takes you about 25% longer to get the job done. But as you continue to go, the dogs choose to get back on the climb faster and faster after they ask for their little break. And it doesn't add any extra time, and it really reduces the stress for the animal. There's lots of ways that you can use the climb inside of a grooming facility, whether it's just as a step to help the dogs get up into the tub, as a more comfortable spot for the dogs for some of the things that they don't really enjoy as much. I will say that you have to be careful if you have a dog that finds any part of the grooming experience to be extremely traumatic or aversive, that you can definitely develop a negative association to the climb. So it almost takes a million treats and a million positive experiences for that one traumatic experience. So you might find that if they have a traumatic experience on the climb, like clipping their nails or something like that, that you may have some challenges with getting them on the climb inside of a training session if it was really emotionally challenging for the dog. So just keep that in mind, whether or not you want to poison the climb by using it for something that may not be as enjoyable.
Yeah, and I was going to say, and Samantha did say, I'll be your enrichment stylist. So I love that. I was going to say, Samantha, for that, because I agree with Jamie, if I wouldn't use the climb by itself with grooming right off the bat, but especially for younger dogs or like newer dogs, where if you can get that pet parent to basically buy a training package where you're going to be working with that dog to get them used to grooming. This, I'm thinking puppies in particular, where instead of just bringing that puppy in for its first groom and second groom and third groom, you're bringing that puppy in multiple times to begin with, where you're really not grooming them. You're just getting them prepared for grooming and getting them used to grooming sounds and the equipment and the location and all that. That would be a great opportunity to play with that puppy, to learn, to get them to learn getting on the climb, getting off the climb. Great things happen on the climb without necessarily having the actual grooming experience associated with that. I do the same thing as Jamie with when I'm washing Ranger. I use 2 climbs and he can get on it. I don't use any kind of tether or anything, but so I just wash him. He's allowed to get off the climb if he wants to. So if any part when I'm washing him, if he jumps off, I just stand there. And it's weird because he doesn't mind being wet. He's not thrilled with he would rather be in a pool or a lake than just being wet to get a bath. But it's not like he jumps off the climb and runs away. He usually just jumps off the climb and then just resets himself and then gets back on. And you're right, it happens fewer and fewer times now. So that's the kind of thing that would be great to work with puppies on, to teach that puppy you have a choice, get off or get back on. And then I've also used it as a step to get in the bathtubs at various places where we've done self-serve washes, where I'll get in there and then I'll be like, there's no, and I can't pick him up.
Yeah.
He really doesn't like, does not like slippery surfaces. So if he has to jump onto something from a slippery surface, he'll freak out because he just doesn't like, so I have to either put a mat down or usually I'll just go get my climb and then he'll step on the climb and get in. So I think those are great opportunities to use the climb for something like grooming.
Yeah, and I think you could actually use it to where it's a fun break during the process as you're getting, like, if they tolerate the nail trim, then take them over to the climb and do some fun enrichment activities with it to where it's a reward.
I like that idea too.
That's awesome too. And then Samantha said we have a puppy and a rehab program, 6 or 8 week programs that doesn't include grooming. It's more relationship building. Yeah, those are great opportunities, I think, to use the climb. And then you would be building that positive association. You could also have, I know some groomers have a situation where after the groom is done, they let the dogs play in an area. And that's another place you could have the climb, where you might just reward the dog when they just go to the climb on their own, or it's just an activity that they can do while they're waiting to be picked up or whatever. So all of those are great. So talk a little bit about fitness. And I know in the past, I have not wanted daycare facilities to do a ton of fitness because I feel like you have to know a little bit about keeping the dog safe if you're going to do a lot of fitness. But I think there's a lot of simple activities you can do, especially with the new product from Blue 9. Well, I guess it's not as new anymore. Is it like a year old now? I think it's at least a year old now.
Yeah, it's like just a year old. I had a few different memories pop up on my Facebook recently that reminded me that we launched it just about a year ago now.
So I think using the Propel platform, I do think there's some pretty basic things you can do. So do you want to talk a little bit about some of those ideas?
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with you. Up until the product that we developed came to fruition, I wasn't super keen on doing canine fitness activities or fun fitness activities with dogs without a lot of background being built in. And that's because a lot of the equipment that's out there is not really safe for beginner dogs and beginner handlers. When we developed the Propel Air platform, we were really conscious about making a piece of equipment that was going to be easy for what we call the average dog owner. We want someone from just a pet dog owner all the way up to world championship agility dog trainers to be able to find use in the product. But we wanted it approachable, we wanted it safe, and we wanted it really more or less like intuitive to be able to use it. And so what we developed was something that's not going to roll out from underneath your dog's paws, something that was not built to be so high that if they fell off of the equipment, they would injure themselves. And we designed different pieces in it that help you see proper form. And we won't get too deep into the nitty gritty of proper form, though I like totally nerd out on it. What we're really looking for with proper form is just straight lines. We want to make sure our dogs are not twisting side to side, that their paws are side by side or parallel to each other, that they're standing balanced. Just think straight. But there's tons of different exercises that you can do. Everything from confidence building of just walking slowly and methodically over an obstacle course that's built with Propel Air platforms and climb platforms, to just working on standing with stillness and practicing obedience cues up on the Propel Air platform, things like sit and down and stand, or fun tricks, shake a paw. So for example, we can have our dogs put their front feet up on the Propel Air platform while they're standing. And then if we ask them to shake a paw, they have to balance on, the other 3 legs that are on the ground or the Propel Air platform. So you can certainly incorporate in those different tricks that the dog might know as well. And those are so easy to teach, either with the Trick of the Month program, which is something that is available as a joint venture between Blue 9 and the Dog Gurus, Or if you do have a trainer on staff that's done some obedience skills, there's a lot of things that you can just lure the dog into as well as you incorporate in the fitness equipment.
And can you show do you have one handy that you can show?
I do, yes. So
I was gonna say, if not, I'll grab mine because I want.
So this is the Propel Air platform. One of the things that I was talking about was that we wanted to make it really intuitive to be able to see that proper form. So if you see there is a dividing line that goes down here, those are our pro grid lines. So making sure that our dogs are standing balanced on the equipment so that their paws are equal distance apart. And Rue saw me grab the equipment. So we're working now. We're going to do a demo, right? There's two different surfaces to it. There's a lower profile lined side and then a nubby side that helps dogs really understand where their feet are at. And then they also connect together. If you have a larger dog and you need a bigger working surface area, then you can connect them. Or if you're doing different configurations with them or putting them into an obstacle course, that sort of thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And if we have more questions, we can certainly talk through some questions, or if we wanted to see Rue do a couple of things, I can adjust our camera angle and do a little bit too.
I think we'd love to see Rue.
We have a different Jamie said, we love ours so much and use them daily for our senior girls. Plus I use them in the training classroom. So Jamie, not Jamie with Rue, but Jamie Engderhall, what do you do with your senior dogs? Just if you can post a quick comment in there, because I'd love to know what exercises you do with them. I love that too, because I do feel like this, especially in daycare, the senior dogs, I think, sometimes get left out because most of the time in daycare, it's that high energy. We feel like it has to be like high energy play or high energy racing around. And senior dogs love nose work. They can do some of this fitness stuff too, which would be really super helpful for their overall toning and fitness as well. So
just making sure that we're still on camera. So yeah, there's lots of different things that we can do just from standing with a nice neutral top line, asking for some of the tricks that they know. Can you do your paw? This one, there we go. You can see how he adjusts his posture to be able to maintain balance in this position. Yes. And then of course, whenever we're doing fitness exercises, we want to do it on both sides. Paw. And just holding that for 10 seconds. And you can see he's really thinking and he's changing he's adjusting in order to maintain balance. Good boy, wait. Yes, good job, buddy. That was really hard. Other tricks that they might know or that you might be able to lure, asking for something like a spin. And then putting their paws back up onto the equipment and a twirl. And putting their paws back up onto the equipment. Or obedience skills, lie down. Oh, good boy. And then sit. Can you sit? Yeah, good boy. Very nice. Good job. I just love working. Good boy. And then also rear end targeting as well. So asking them just to put their rear feet on it. You can teach them to walk backwards to the target. That's one of the tricks that we work on. Teaching our dogs how to walk backwards and really just holding that position and figuring out ways to balance on the equipment. That's a lot for our senior dogs, just keeping them moving and keeping them active. Good boy, buddy. Very nice.
Jamie Ingerhall said, we do a lot of core exercises given to us from our hydro massage therapist, balancing paw placements, stationary cues. Our oldest girl is losing some tone in her hind end quickly, and the platform has made incredible difference in her maintaining tone versus using any other platform we've used so far. So I love that. And then the
I love hearing that as well.
Holding. And I do think it's not well known by people that just doing some simple exercises, either with the climb or the air propel or any equipment really, that does help build the dog's confidence. Just getting those really fearful dogs that you're like, they're never going to do anything. They're scared of their own shadow. Those are some of the dogs that benefit the most from any type of activity. Did he just sneeze in your face?
Yeah, he did. He did right into the microphone too.
So I do think those dogs often are some of the dogs that benefit the most from these types of enrichment activities. So really looking at how you can incorporate those into your daycare or into your enrichment program, I think is huge.
I agree. It's so awesome to be able to have that kind of low pressure environment where anything that the dog does with the equipment is a success or a step forward. And so they learn that, oh, great things happen inside of this training session, and that can really help build their confidence. Right, Bud?
And then Jamie also said we used to do loving on the stairs, and this platform allows us to do the same exercise without needing the stairs, which is awesome. So anything that you're teaching the dog to back up or putting their hind legs on something, I think is great. And you have that not fully inflated, Jamie. So can you talk about the difference of the two, like how you can inflate it more or less?
Yeah, definitely. So this was neutrally inflated. So as the dog is balancing on it, it's not a huge balance challenge. This is great for when you're first introducing the dogs to it. I have another one here that has a bit more air in it. And you'll see that with this one, it rocks back and forth from side to side. And so because it has more air in it, it's going to create more of a balance challenge for the dog. And again, there's a lot that the dogs are doing just by trying to maintain balance in a nice neutral stand here. You really don't have to get wild and crazy and ask your dog to do backflips and different high energy activities. You can just ask them to stand with nice neutral posture, find their balance. If they know a nose touch, you can encourage more of that movement side to side while they are up on the equipment. And you can see that he has to stabilize it underneath him. But again, this piece of equipment is much lower to the ground than a lot of other equipment. You can make it much more stable when you're first getting started with those dogs that maybe are a little bit more afraid or don't have as great coordination. So it's a much safer piece of equipment when you're first getting started.
And that's with Ranger, because he is more sensitive to, I just think he has a fear of falling. So he's hypersensitive to movement, and he'll get on things, but he had no problem at all when I got my air propel, which is actually right behind me, with it being neutrally balanced. He got right on it, even though it was a tiny bit motion. It wasn't enough to make him afraid of it, which I found so easy to get him to work with it. And then now I can inflate it more because it's now become a fun activity for him, so he doesn't really worry about the movement as much. But I haven't seen another one like that where you can really do that as easily as you can with the air propel. What other questions do you have, Susan? We're almost out of time.
Yeah, I think, Jamie, while you're there with the equipment, just any tips you have on getting newer dogs to enrichment, to maybe introduce them to the propel for the first time, or any new piece of equipment?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of letting the dogs explore it on their own, and then also creating a nice big working surface area for them. So if I ask my dog to walk across this piece of equipment as it is, it's a very small piece of equipment. How is he going to get all 4 feet up there? So what I might do instead is ask my dog to walk across 2 pieces of equipment that are side by side so that they have more of a likelihood of actually being able to hit that equipment, but letting the dogs explore it on their own, sprinkling a couple of cookies or treats up there for them to explore, and really just walking them back and forth. Not any kind of, there shouldn't be any pressure of, I need you to do the thing on this, but really it's explore the environment, walk through the room. Oh, and by the way, if you happen to put your feet up on this, there's going to be a huge party and you'll get lots of treats for it. And the dogs figure that out and they say, oh, this thing makes cookies happen. Maybe I'll put my feet up there again for more of those cookies. Once the dog is comfortable and happy working or getting onto the equipment, that's when you can start to ask for more of those behaviors and incorporating in tricks or obedience skills. You are so silly, buddy.
You're being silly now. I love that for enrichment. One of the best things about doing enrichment or any kind of enrichment activities, and this, if you don't do this with your staff, you should, is that it should be very low pressure. It should be just, we're here to have fun. If they don't do it 100%, it doesn't matter. So you're not telling that client, you're going to train the dog to do these 10 activities. You're basically saying, we're going to introduce all kinds of different concepts to your dog and see what they like, see what they're inclined to do, and they'll get better as they do it more. But there really shouldn't be any pressure on that happening, everything happening on a certain scale. You're going to find some dogs learn all of this stuff faster and some dogs take a little bit more time. But what I've seen is those dogs that take more time initially catch up pretty quickly once they start learning that the whole enrichment process is something fun and something they have a choice in and something that's not going to scare them. So don't worry if it takes one dog a few days to figure it out. Another dog learns it. It's just all about having fun, engaging the dog's brain, engaging their body, and just getting them to do stuff that is going to be fun for you, for them, and for the staff.
Absolutely. That,
Here we go.
it's really important that it stays fun and that there isn't the pressure to achieve anything specific other than having fun.
Yep.
I could not agree more. It is all about having fun and really figuring out what the dog enjoys doing too.
Yep, exactly. So if you're not doing enrichment in your facility, no matter what you're doing, whether you're a pet sitter, a dog walker, a dog trainer, a groomer, like we saw with Samantha, obviously daycare and boarding, there's places for enrichment and all of that. And Susan and I have been saying for a while now that daycare 2.0 is really better for the dogs, better for your staff, and more profitable. But now we've seen enrichment just take off in everything. And with today's financial landscape, it's going to be something that is going to help your business survive through this times, because you can charge a little bit more. You can get clients who really are interested in learning this stuff and getting their dog active and involved. So it's going to help in that sense. And it's going to help your staff have a little bit more fun, which hopefully will help with staff retention as well. So there's a whole bunch of reasons that you can use it, but really look at how you can add these elements into whatever services you're offering. We really started it out really in the daycare world, but it's now really has a far more reach than that. So really think outside the box to get this started in your facility. If you are looking for ideas, I know Blue 9 Pet Products has a YouTube channel, and they have tons of great videos out there that will help to get your creative juices going and learning how to teach the behaviors, learning just all the things you can do, even with using the climb. If you're using those in your facility, they've got a video on all the different structures you can create out of your climb, which is amazing. Every time I watch it, I get a new idea. So check out their YouTube channel as well. And obviously, if you have questions of Jamie, you can contact her. What's the best email address to reach you if they want to email you?
Yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to pop me an email at J, as in Jamie, Popper, my last name, at blue-9.com. jpopper@blue-9.com.
And then I will say, because I am all about generating revenue, if you're using any products in your daycare, boarding, lodging, pet sitting, whatever. So, and specifically, if you're using climbs or the Air Propel, I would be selling those to your clients too. And as a trainer, I would actually incorporate the climb into my training program. And then my training cost to the client would include a climb. So I would actually, at the very least, I would do a basic program, a basic cost, and a VIP program or VIP cost, where the VIP cost includes a climb and you're generating a little revenue for that. Blue 9 does have dealer options, so you can become a dealer and sell those products in your store or in your facility. And if you don't have a store, they actually, as a dealer, you can actually drop ship to your client's home. So it's not like you have to have 20 of these in your car all the time. You can actually have a few to demo with, and then you can drop ship them through Blue 9's website. So definitely reach out and learn more about that. There's obviously discounts on the cost to you as well through that dealer program, so that then you can generate revenue for your business or for yourself when you sell them to the clients. So that's another way to really add that additional revenue stream. And on the compliance, once your dog knows that get on those pieces of equipment, the compliance from the owner at home is really good, because they'll put the climb down, the dog will jump right on it. It's just like when Jamie took Rue to that vet, where it was like, oh, anytime I have my dog at a trade show and he walks by the Blue 9 booth, he always like veers off and goes and walks up. I didn't tell him to do that. It's just that he's, oh, here's these things I love. So it definitely helps with owner compliance at home as well. So, yeah, so Samantha said I have limited space for retail. Yeah, so you can actually just drop ship them. Just go on Blue 9's website and fill out where you need it shipped, and then they'll ship it for you. So it's great. So you don't have to have all that inventory if you don't have space.